Welcome to the Cabrera Lab podcast.
Hey,
What is up?
all kinds of stuff's up.
Nice.
So you're good.
I am fantastic.
All right, so listen, I was talking to somebody the other day,
Oh, yeah?
an executive at a big company that's going to bring us in to do some training with their leaders.
Okay.
And she has a 6-year-old. And she said to me, well, wait a minute. I want to teach this to my kids. Can we teach this to my kids? How do I teach this to my kids? Systems thinking. And I thought, well, that's a great thing to talk about.
Oh.
Teaching kids how to be systems thinkers.
Yeah.
Like, what does that entail? Why we should do it? All of that.
I think it's probably the most important thing we can do as a society.
Teach them to be systems thinkers early in
Yeah,
life.
for sure.
Why?
So many reasons, but I'll start with, we know, for example, that if you spend $1 on a preschooler or a first, second, third grader, it's like spending $3 or $10 on a teenager, right? So the bang for your buck is so much more if you hit them early.
Yes.
With anything, if for example, if we taught real nutrition at a young age, it would have a bigger bang for buck. If we taught, no matter what you teach, if you want everybody to end up being great at basketball, teach them young.
Right.
If you want everybody to end up being great at thinking, which
We should be.
I'm sure there's forces that would not want that.
Dark forces.
Dark forces, yeah. But in a free society, you would want people to be good at thinking, and so hit them early. That's number one. Number two is, I say this example a lot, but Charles Darwin, who, evolution is arguably one of the greatest scientific ideas that's ever been had. He said, if for those who understand my views, evolution, they'll turn their gaze to education. And what he meant by that is that the places where you really have influence is in how we educate our young and prepare them for adulthood.
Right.
Sometimes it sounds kind of cliche, but we're the teachers and educators and parents are raising the future. There's nothing cliche about that. That's just factual. They're raising the future.
True. That's true. So then I want to think about this a little bit more. When we say start them early, we mean early.
Super early.
Like pre-K, K, first,
like
second.
womb.
Well, okay, that's early.
Yeah, that's pretty early. Yeah. Babies can actually start making distinctions between their father's and mother's voice in the womb. So they're already doing it. And you can expose them to all kinds of things, expose them to different sounds. And, so there's we should start them at the very least in preschool.
One of the things I was thinking about that's interesting is you said they're already doing it even in the womb. And you and I have actually talked a bit before on another podcast about that actually children almost inherently are more systemic or naturally born systems thinkers. And then we kind of train them out of it through school.
100%.
At about third grade, they start learning to focus on the test. And
yeah, I would say children are way easier to teach systems thinking than adults, because they don't have as many bad habits already that they're locked into. I wouldn't say that children are in the sense of the concept of Nobel savage. I don't think children are I'm systems thinking.
No.
Children can do a lot of they're children.
Yeah.
So
you need to focus them a little bit.
But they're easier to teach because they have less bad habits. The bad habits are less ingrained in them.
Right. Because sometimes when we're working with adults, we have to actually unlearn some
right.
stuff.
With kids, you don't have to unlearn a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
They just kind of do it and they have fun with it. And they're not afraid of making mistakes. The number one thing that we see with adults is they want to know, am I doing this right?
Right.
And you're like, just do it. Just practice it. It's like, if you're always worried, am I dribbling right? Just have fun with it. Dribble.
People don't always realize that. They think of systems thinking as this big academic thing that only very serious people can learn about very serious things. And I wanted to disabuse people of that totally. You can literally have these conversations with your 4-year-old.
For sure.
Your 6-year-old. This woman has a 6-year-old and,
Yeah, we used to do distinctions is not list with when we brought the groceries home and had the kids help us, we would say, like, make a distinction, make a pile, a part whole grouping, right? So that's D and S.
Yeah.
With the groceries of what goes in the fridge and what goes in the pantry.
Yeah.
And so they have fun with it. This is not pantry. This is pantry. This is not
fridge. Not fridge.
Yeah. Not fridge is the same as pantry, and it's part of every day.
Yes. So then I guess the question is, how do you? Obviously, you need an adult who's kind of mediating that a little bit, a teacher, a parent, a person who's sort of articulating that language. Like we said to the kids, is not fridge.
Yeah, I think if you have an adult who understands the 6 moves, then that's about where you would start. And really, it's just helping them with the 6 moves and helping them to verbalize, visualize, and make tangible, tactile. So, I mean, DSRP and the moves are just like the language of thought. But the language is a 3-part language. It's a verbal language. So it gives you words to talk about your thinking. It gives you visuals to be able to draw or visualize see your thinking. And it gives you tangibles, which allow you to make your thinking tangible, get it out of your head and out.
Right. So when you make that distinction between those 3, what that means is, practically speaking, if I'm guiding my 6-year-old, let's say I'm working with our granddaughter, I want to talk the language. I want Gabby to make the articulation between this is and is not. I want her to say this is connected to that, or I'm pretending to be a frog and here's what I see for perspective taking. And then for visualizing, what does that look like?
Well, so you could teach her the drawings, like for perspective circle, it's just like 3 different eyeballs and then whatever thing that you're looking at, right? So this might be a frog.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad frog, right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the ways that we could look at a frog?
Right.
And then she can see it.
Right.
In other words, rather than just talking it, if you can make it visual for her, or if you can make it physical for her.
We can get a real frog.
Yeah, you could get a real frog. Obviously, that would be the best.
Yeah.
And then, except for the frog. It's probably not great for the frog, but...
Maybe a toad.
I'm just saying the frog probably won't enjoy it as much as we do. Or you can use things that are all around you. You can take almonds, right? And build the same thing with the almonds.
Right.
Right? So let's look at this frog from the perspective of...
Food.
Can you eat a frog? Well, the French eat frogs, or in Louisiana they eat frog legs.
Yeah.
What other perspective could we look at it from?
Color.
Color? What color is a frog?
Green.
Okay. Yeah. Are there other colors that a frog is?
Yeah, all over the place.
A lot of different brown, whatever. And then what other perspective could we look at it from?
Texture.
Texture? Yeah. What's the...
The frogs are smooth, but toads are bumpy.
Okay, good. So you just made a distinction between frogs and toads, right? So, it's happening naturally. But if you can get them to verbalize it, be able to talk their thinking, if you can get them to see it, and even better, see it and touch it, and manipulate it. Right? To manipulate means of the hand, like manipulate. So if they can manipulate it and visually see it and talk it, then they're going to learn it. And the reason that that's true is there's actually more. There's a guy named Cortex Man. Cortex Man is or cortical homunculus is the scientific name of it.
Technical name.
That's the technical name. But it shows it's kind of a rendition of us humans, in terms of kind of from the perspective of our brain and how many neurons we have hooked up to the different parts of our body.
Right.
So there's more neurons hooked up to your eyes, your hands, and your tongue than the entire rest of your body. So think about that. Your eyes, your hands, and your tongue are relatively small compared to your body, the way you see it in the mirror.
Right.
But to your brain, the eyes, tongue, and hands are huge. Because there's more neural inputs,
right?
And so if we can speak to the eyes and the hands, and speaking, then we really are talking directly into their brain.
And what that means then is more neurons are firing in your brain when you're using your hands, so your recall will be better. Your memory will be ingrained. It'll be more ingrained in your memory.
Exactly.
Which is why a lot of classrooms, pre-K and K, most of their work is stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and most of their lessons involve cardboard and wiggly eyes and pipe cleaners.
So all of the 6 moves that we would teach young kids, like this is zoom in, which is just an indentation of objects, right? So this is the whole, and this is a part, and this is a part, and this is a part, right? So you have a very easy visual, but you can do that with other stuff, right? You could do that with a block and have blocks inside of it, or you could do it with a block and put the blocks beneath it like that, or you could put the blocks in this, and then we could do another move called part party, which is to relate the parts.
Right.
Or you can do the same thing with almonds, right? So you can put the 3 things like that, and draw little relationships, and this is the whole, and these are the parts. It doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah.
You can use sugar packets or anything, coffee cups.
Yeah.
Whatever you have around you, if you can make it into objects,
that'll help.
That'll help a ton, right?
Yeah.
And if you have the wording, distinctions, perspectives, relationships, part whole systems, then that gives them the language. And if you have the moves, that gives them the structural moves that they have to practice over and over again.
And so what's happening then for the child is they're starting to understand. They're not just understanding frog.
Yes.
They think they're understanding frog.
Yeah.
Right? But what they're really underneath understanding is how to look at something from a lot of perspectives.
Which is way, way more important than understanding frogs.
Right.
Because this very simple almond perspective circle could be used, we could have frog, but any other thing could be here, and the structure would stay the same and have the same value of seeing the frog from different perspectives. So you could put, when the kid is older, my work, my family, my child, my hobby, anything for their entire future. This perspective circle structure, right, for their entire future will never not be valuable.
Right.
It'll be more and more valuable. Whereas unless they're a frogologist, all the stuff they know about frogs probably isn't going to be like essential knowledge for what they end up being in life.
Right.
Unless they end up studying frogs.
And so what that is, let's talk. So we were actually down at one of our favorite school districts in New Jersey. You know who you are. And we were talking to some of our favorite teachers.
We're supposed to say it.
We are?
Yeah, remember.
That's right.
He said you got to say it. So it's
Oxford Central School in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Under the amazing leadership of their superintendent, John Natalo. We were working with many, many amazing teachers, K to 8.
Yep, amazing.
And my favorite moment we were working with them is one of the teachers was telling a story. She teaches something like 6th grade math. And one of her students come in, and she's starting to do a lesson, I think, around is not with expression and equations. And the student says, oh, I just saw this in English. This same thing. We were learning about different types of exposition or narrative. And to me, that might seem like a silly little story, but what that means is what you just said, which is that structure that they're learning to distinguish things is what they're carrying with them.
It's so important.
From topic to topic.
That we've seen that time and time again across the many schools we've worked with, and it sounds like that's cool that the kid said that, but it's actually much cooler than we might think.
Right.
Because if you think about any kid, let's take a kid, right? Going from K to 12 or even K to 16 through college, or K to 23, which is the PhD or whatever. If you think about what are they going to do K through 12, right? They're gonna have a day, right? First grade, and their day is going to be made up of some subject areas, right? As they get older, the subject areas are going to grow. And by the time they get to high school, they're going to have, 6 or 7 subject areas, right?
Right.
And every semester it's going to be different, right?
Yes.
And each subject area, whether it's here or here, this is like first grade, maybe this is like 6th grade, and maybe this is 12th grade. Mm-hmm. Each subject area is going to have its own separate hour, right?
Yes.
And it's going to be isolated from the other subject areas. So PE is not, that's the way it's going to mostly be experienced most of the time. I'm not saying there's not schools that are doing it differently, but so, PE is not going to be math is not going to be English, et cetera.
Science, yeah.
That's the first thing. And second, what they learn here is going to be different than what they in this subject is going to be different than what they learn here is going to be different than what they learn here.
Meaning the content of the curriculum that they're learning. Yes, is going to be different. This episode is brought to you by STSI, the Systems Thinking Standards Institute.
Yes, super excited to work with STSI, raising the standard for 8 billion systems thinkers, science-based standards, training, the professional systems thinking credential, accreditation for organizations, the systems thinking or thinker toolkit. And so I really encourage folks to go to stsi.pro, take the trainings, get the credentials, get your organization accredited, get the toolkit. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Help us get to 8 billion.
And it's a 501c3 nonprofit.
Don't forget that.
It's a great partner. What happens when you teach structure or how we organize information rather than information, when you focus on getting at the underlying organization of information, which is what causes meaning, right? We call that M equals IO. When we organize information, we make meaning. Right. The information itself isn't what's giving us the meaning. It's how we organize the information, and that the way we organize is through these 4 patterns, DSRP.
Right.
So when a kid learns this structure, let's say, perspective circle is one structure, right? Which is taking multiple perspectives on a thing.
Yes.
And seeing the thing differently as a result. When a kid learns that structure here, and then they learn it here, what that does is it creates a connection between them.
Right. And these are 2 different topics, like English and math.
Yeah. This is math. This is English. And they go, oh, math and English, they're kind of, they have similar structure. They have similar, and now I can make analogies between them. Now I can make metaphors. Now I can make similes. I can do all kinds of things with that. I start to see that they're connected, that they're not disconnected.
Right.
And we call that vertical transfer.
Which is across topics.
Yeah, we call it vertical because it's happening across topics.
Yeah, okay.
And when they see that, what I learned here was structured this way, and then all we're doing is building on that structure and adding more structure with more information in it, and then we're just adding more structure and more information over here, then this is called horizontal transfer.
Right, because that's across the grades.
Yeah.
Same topic across the grades.
So that's one kind of transfer. This is another kind of transfer, right? Now there's 2 other kinds of transfer. There's near transfer and far transfer. So near transfer is like I learn something in one domain and I apply it to something else in that same domain.
Right.
So that's called near transfer.
So what an example would be like, I learn something in biology that I'm also going to learn, that I'm going to take over at chemistry or...
No, it would be like I learned something in biology and I apply it to something, in biology.
Oh, you're saying inside the topic.
Inside the topic.
All right.
And then far transfers, I learned something in biology and I apply it to like relationships. Right?
Like dating.
Like dating or something like that. That's far transfer. So outside of the domain that I learned it in. So you probably remember when we were working with, it's like adjudicated.
Oh, we worked in a really interesting program for, it's like PINs, people in need of juvenile offenders who were removed from the school.
Yeah.
And they were put in a supervised inpatient kind of place. But they were still taking school.
They were still doing school. And this kid came to us, and we were working in there, and came to us and his teacher and said, I learned this in biology, these structures, these part whole structures, and is it okay if I apply them in therapy?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's FAR transfer. That's
Yes.
really important. So notice there's a similarity across all these, no pun intended, which is transfer. These are all different types of transfer. And here's the most important part. Transfer is the holy grail of learning.
Yes.
Now, why would that be the case? Because if we can learn something in one domain and transfer it to another domain, then we can 2x or 10x our learning. If a kid has learned something and then transfers it to a near domain, then he's 2x his learning. If he transfers it to another domain, then he's 3x his learning. If he transfers it across all these domains, then he's 10x his learning, right? What that means is that if we can increase transfer, when we teach one thing, we can teach 10, 100 things because the kid is teaching themselves things.
Yes.
And that's far more efficient form of teaching for the kid to teach themselves things than any kind of teaching from the outside can muster. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay. Transfer is the holy grail of learning because transfer is the hardest thing to get across. And the part that we miss all the time, and this is kind of the nut, no pun intended. What transfers is not the information. What transfers is the organization. Because the information across all these places is so different. That's not what's transferring. What's transferring is the relationships between the variables. That's what's transferring.
Yes.
So when we teach kids these underlying structures, the 6 moves, part, zoom in, zoom out, is not, list, part, party, barbells, and perspective circles, the most important 6 moves. When we teach them that, what we're teaching them is the crux of this stuff. And that increases transfer, which means we're discovering the holy grail of learning.
I love that. And I have, over the years, sort of likened that to the kid is walking across topics in 1 year with a backpack of understanding how they're understanding.
Yes.
And then they have that backpack across the years as well.
Yep.
And that backpack is, if I know how to distinguish things when I'm thinking about mathematical equations, I can now distinguish different periods in history.
Yeah.
I know how to look at different parts of history from many types of perspectives. I can also look at matter from different types of perspectives, you know? And that's the part that I think has kept us working in schools.
Yeah.
We always are working in schools every
always.
year because to
It's
me,
the most important
when those
place.
kids, I mean, you know, we've seen kids in our documentary, Rethinking, that one little girl, she said, she was probably, 5 years old at the time. She's probably 27 by now, but she said, I did this in math, and then I did this when I was doing this, and I was understanding my colors, and she's like, and then she said, and all of a sudden I can understand everything.
Yeah,
and
because they're connecting their information landscape, and they're seeing that there's underlying patterns, which means that they can think on their own because they're not just consuming information, they're processing information, and they're becoming experts, not in information consuming, but in information organizing. They're becoming experts at information organizing, which has another word, we call it thinking.
Yes.
So they're becoming experts in thinking, which means that when they're 27, because that little girl probably is by now, she's going to be thinking about completely different information than the information she was dealing with when we met her.
Yeah.
But she's going to be able to think about it. She's going to be able to organize it. She's going to have the lifelong learning skills of organizing information and being an expert, a Michael Jordan level thinker about whatever information is relevant to her, whether it's frogs or something else.
I mean, I like to think of it as she's probably entirely capable of navigating her way through anything because she knows how to think. She knows how to think. She knows how she's thinking, not just what she's thinking about.
And it makes sense of the landscape that they go through. I mean, think of if a kid isn't connecting the dots of their curriculum, the backpack you talk about, vertically and horizontally, then it just feels like they're I go here, then I go here, then I go here. Nothing's connected. Nothing is meaningful. It's just I do this thing, then I do this thing, then I do this thing, and there's no like, I don't get the big picture of anything. I don't understand how it all connects. Transfer is the key, and the patterns of organization is how that all those 4 forms of transfer happen.
Yes,
it's pretty important for education to. I've often said that our entire education system is almost entirely predicated on this information.
Yes,
and in a time where information is essentially everywhere and free, mostly free and abundant and ever changing, it becomes even more important to be an expert in the way we organize it.
Yes, and I would also say as these kids become adults, they need to be able to identify information and misinformation.
Totally.
Because now we don't even have just information, we have a lot of misinformation.
Absolutely. More misinformation than information.
And so being able to discern that.
And ironically, as AI starts influencing education, it's a powerful tool. And we should incorporate it into education.
Yeah.
But we should understand that it's just flooding information.
Yeah.
Right? And so how do we know if the AI is hallucinating? How do we know if the AI is telling us something that's biased? How do we know, the only way that we can do that is through the way we organize the information. And so, in a sense, if we don't teach kids these patterns, what we're setting them up for is to be incredibly susceptible to misinformation.
Yes. And purposeful manipulation.
That's what we're setting them up for. If they can't think, then what we're setting them up for is just being consumers of information their whole life instead of builders of information and builders of meaning.
Yeah.
We want them to use information to build their own meaning.
Right.
Not be consumers of information. If we erase this whole part of the equation, right? If we erase that equation and just have the I left, then the only thing that they can do is consume it.
Right.
And there's a lot of companies that would love that, right? Social media is all about, we're going to just keep throwing information at you, you consume it. AI, if used the wrong way, here's information, consume it. Consume, like the sugar industry.
Yeah.
And that's because we've set it up as there's just one variable here, information. But if we actually see that actually there's information, there's the way we organize it, and the 4 patterns, D, A, S, R, and P, and the most important part is the meaning we make out of that organization of information, then there's a lot more room for building free-thinking human beings.
Yes, and we have 3 children. We now have 2 grandchildren as well. And I think one of the things that we've been very purposeful about is having building up their resistance. Thinking is almost an inoculation against marketing and manipulation and consumerism and all these things that we know take their attention, take their money, take their time, eventually when they're voting,
There are so many huge interests competing for the market that is our kids.
Yes.
There are so many huge interests competing for the time and attention of the market that is our children.
Yes.
And if we do not inoculate them and make them resilient and adaptive thinkers to that manipulation, I mean, these are powerful forces. And you've got this little kid, and these forces have access through the phone and through everything ambient around us.
Yeah.
That kid doesn't stand a chance.
No.
They're going to be obese. They're going to have diabetes by the time they're 18.
They're never going to go outside.
They're going to consume information. They're never going to go outside. They're going to be addicted to their phone. They're going to be in part of extremely risky behaviors.
Socially awkward.
Well, they might be socially normative.
Oh, that's a problem.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Interesting. One thing I should say, since we actually finally named Oxford Central.
Yeah.
is Oxford Central is a STEP accredited school.
Yes, they are.
And is
they're
now
doing the
embedding the systems thinking education
standards, yeah.
alongside of their curricular standards.
Yeah, it's pretty great school.
So they've got O now in their equation.
And it's amazing what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, they're rolling it out across all 8 of their grades, and just
superstars.
Super cool. Superstars.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I don't know how exactly we started this, but you just said, how do you teach it to your kids?
Well, this one woman I was talking to, she said, "Oh, can you even teach this to kids?"
Yeah.
That's how she asked it.
I would say the most amazing thing is, whether you're a parent or a teacher or just somebody that wants to teach it to kids, whatever. The most amazing thing for me, the thing I love the most about this work, is that when we teach CEOs, when we teach special forces operators, when we teach professional athletes, musicians, superstars, scientists, government entities, we teach them the exact same thing that we teach little kids.
That is true.
And I love that. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit like that book, like everything I learned.
I needed to know
or everything I needed to know I learned in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's some truth to that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you can't teach little kids these things and have them have usefulness, then chances are, I just love the fact that they're the same, that we teach them the same stuff.
Yeah.
Now, they're dealing with different information, different complexity, but the underlying structures are the same. So the irony is, what you do with kids is not that different from what we do with high-end adults. We teach them the 6 moves.
Yeah.
In both cases, and they're just as valuable. And the beauty of that is, just like basketball or any other, guitar or whatever, if you're dealing with a 4-year-old or you're dealing with an NBA star, you're still going to focus on practicing dribbling, shooting, and passing.
Yeah. Fundamentals.
Now, the 4-year-old's going to dribble, shoot, and pass a little bit differently than the NBA star, but same basic mechanics, same basic practice, and if they get good at practicing that, by the time they're adulting, they will be
Jordan.
They'll be Michael Jordan. Every single one.
The Michael Jordan of thinking.
Which
would be amazing.
Of emotional intelligence, problem solving, adaptability, seeing things that other people don't see.
Yeah.
And we just train them in these 6 moves, which show remarkable effects in the research. So
yeah, I mean, and I think anybody who's listening who has a child or a grandchild or anybody, just ask them a simple question. What is this? What isn't it?
What is it?
What is this? How is this connected
zoom
to that?
In, zoom out.
How would you look at it? Yeah. And just play with it, and you'd be surprised the things that they say.
It's amazing.
They get it.
Yeah.
They get it quickly.
Kids are sharp. They're inexperienced. We need to build their skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're inexperienced.
Well, and they're up against a lot. It's not a fair fight sometimes.
It's not a fair fight.
With all the electronics and all of that.
It's not a
fair fight. We got to help them.
For me, the biggest challenge of parenting is that.
Yes.
I mean, parenting a child's easy, but parenting them in this context with these forces at play is rough.
It is.
It's rough.
It's true.
And you have to be on it 24/7.
Yeah, there's a vigilance
because
required.
They're on it 24. Those forces are trying to influence your kids 24/7. So you've got to be present all the time, and it's your kids, so you got to do it.
And over time, you want them to be thinking about it on their own, because by the time they leave for college, they have to have their own guardrails in place.
Totally.
Metacognitively.
Otherwise, they're just prey.
Or they're just going to be.
They're just prey.
Yeah. It's terrible. You got to save the kids.
I think, again, we got to get better at teaching, but it's the most important thing we do in society is teachers need to get paid more. They need to have less micromanaging, more freedom to teach, and they need way more respect, for the job, for the role, and for the importance of the role, because it really is
Important work.
Yeah, that and parenting. I mean, that's like the future of our society, the future of our nation.
Yep.
All depends on that.
Our citizenry.
Our family, our parents, our families, and our teachers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's it, huh?
I think we
Does that
answered
answer
the
the
question.
question?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll ask her.
That's a wrap.